25. I think we can work with this because I have to redo this. Yeah, from the 18 before. Oh, jeez, sorry about that. Video to sum up the villains of Ruby going into Volume 7, ranking them and everything. Bottom of the list. We're going straight into this. Not farting around. Bottom of the list is Hazel. Hazel is a villain who we've had the opportunity to have his backstory, see what motivates him, and all in all, he contributes nothing to the plot at all. His backstory is the most poorly written backstory in Ruby, and I'll just explain it as fast as I can. He's pissed at Ozpin, and this is what I'm going to do in world building. Very simple, is Ozpin cannot be held accountable unless his sister went to Beacon. That's the first fact. She did not, and this is assuming, but this assumption is based on world building in the show. He can't be held responsible unless it's at Beacon, which means she's not in one of the primary school academies like Patch. She's going to Beacon Academy, and from what we understand, 99.9% of the students who attend the higher up academies, such as Beacon, Haven, etc., are all between the ages of 17 to 18 minimum. And by that time, if you have a look at the red, white, yellow, black trailer, the girls in the trailers are all pre-academy days. They're back in their Patch days level of training, and they're already lethal killers at their lower level academy days. So by the time they are allowed into a higher academy at the age of 17 or 18, when you're practically an adult, you're making decisions for yourself, and given how huntresses and grim are the world you're living in, these monsters are common knowledge. Being a huntress or a huntsman is common knowledge, as well as the threat that goes with being one. It's not a safe friggin' job. It's just like, even if she died during her second day there, got launched off the friggin' cliff, landed in the forest, and died to a grim attack, all I'm gonna say is, from that point of view, it's not Ozpin's fault. I don't see how he can be held accountable in any way. This is just Hazel being a dumb bitch. And then when you see the logic of what he's done, is he's gone, wait, my sister died, and then he goes and serves the Queen of the Grimm, and he's helping her by carrying out her orders to beat up other kids, teenagers. He's an idiot. Hazel is the idiot of this entire show. No potential now, because we know his backstory, we know his abilities. He's just an arsehole. To people who love Hazel, I literally think you need to rethink everything. Because what I just told you is just based on what the show has presented us. Factual, he's an idiot. Lowest to the low, hope he gets killed off. I hope we get the Atlas arc. Is he gonna be there? No, Tyrion and... Oh, God. He's sitting back at base. This fucker's gonna be around for a while. Hazel's the type of character that should be dead. No one would miss him, in my eyes. Moving on. Who's next? I would say Neo, for me, is... If we're doing rankings from shit to medium to good, Neo is next, because although we don't know her backstory, all we know is that, she's tied to Torchwick, and that is if you're going to reintroduce her and you're going to write her into the tail of the story, her going after Cinder, it makes, if I was doing it based on the percentage, it makes 20% sense, because, they teamed up, and yeah, you can blame Cinder for everything that happened, but you went along with it. I don't get it. You're both criminals. You had something to gain from it. I don't. It's one of those stupid things, and it's also considering where you take Neo's character of the last time Neo was present in the story, what she was doing, and if she's so hell bent on Torchwick, it was on the Elysian battle cruiser with Ruby. Nothing to do with Cinder. They were up there. Ruby pressed the button. Bye bye Neo. She should already be pissed at that. And then she finds out Torchwick's dead and the battle cruiser blew up. I don't understand why you would reintroduce Neo going after Cinder when her clear target from any writing perspective would be to target Ruby. She should be trying to either kidnap or assassinate Ruby in any form. Kidnap and torture the shit out of her, or just kill her silently. That should be her plan. Going after Cinder, it's retarded. It's the same thing where Ruby's knocked out with Cinder, and Cinder walks right past to impale Weiss, and you're like, the bitch is right fucking there. It's that level of stupidity when you're choreographing a scene that, pisses people off. But, Neo, not as bad as Hazel. Not as bad by any means, but still pretty bad. And she's just fan service. Hey, you're going to freezing country, which can freeze Grim solid, and better get your tits out on display, because that's the most important thing. Fan service. It's like Kruby's not even trying to hide it. We're not trying to make logical characters. We're not trying to make a show that makes sense. We're doing fan service. Going forward, we're going to reach the middle tier now with the villains. So these are not necessarily bad, and they're not necessarily good. Tyrion's the next one for me. And Tyrion is going to Atlas, I think, based on what we told. Why is he only in the middle? It's because he's a generic psychopath, basically. It's a very two-dimensional villain, and for some reason I don't see Kruby flushing him out anymore. They're just like, oh yeah, he's crazy, that's it. Oh, we did a good job. That's the level of how I view Kruby. It's like when you have homework to do, but you're like, nah, fuck it, I'm not going to use... It's like if you're doing... trying to think. Imagine you're in high school and you're to learn commercial cookery, but you knew you were going into construction, and you purposely just didn't study at all for that because you knew you're doing that. That's how I see with Tyrion. Oh, he's a psychopath, so we don't have to explain shit. He's just crazy. That's how I see that situation. And that, I think, is what leads him to just be this generic 2D piece of shit villain. For me, personally, if I had my input on this, if you were to ask me how could I improve Tyrion, it's based on Salem and Ozma's backstory. At some point, they created a religious cult where they were revered as gods. Tyrion often refers to Salem as a goddess. Have him be like a remnant of this religious cult. There's only a few of them left. He somehow came across Salem. He worships her. He'll do anything. Salem somehow tells him, oh yeah, the reason the cult went to shit was Ozma. He abandoned her, tried to steal their daughters. It makes sense as to why he's so motivated if he wants to oh yeah, I'll kill Ozma's reincarnations. I'll help you accomplish your dream. That makes sense. I would put him much higher up if that was to happen. Next villain, Salem herself. Because overall, how we see Salem, and there's like a part A and part B on how you view Salem. Part A, she's the big bad guy in the entire fucking series. And it's really odd that you would meet the main big bad guy so early in the series. Usually if you took My Hero, where it's gone in the story is that we actually met the big bad guy, but he evolved over time. He started off as a low one. And yeah, they did it a different way. with Salem, how I view Salem is she's supposed to be on the level of like Madara Uchiha, Aizen, I don't know other ones, but like you get the general idea. She's the big fucking badass, and it's funny because both Aizen and Madara did operate like her from behind the scenes. They manipulated shit. Zera Fairy Tail manipulated shit from behind the scenes. But the difference is when they came actually into their respected anime, Naruto, Bleach, Fairy Tail, when the big baddies actually decided to show their face, they got really involved in the story. Salem got introduced now 3 fucking years ago, and she's been sitting on her fucking ass for another 3 fucking years. And at this point, the only time she's ever got off her ass is to create flying monkeys, which is a nod to the Wizard of Oz, so I understand that. What I don't understand is it has to do with Atlas, with Salem's character. The Atlas is already I'm lowering my expectations a lot now because one, we were told in World of Remnant back in the Monty days, the reason the Elysians went north into the ice is that the Grimm couldn't follow them. The Grimm attempted to, because they're pursuing the Elysians, and they just froze to death, the Grimm. So if anything, it showed that the Elysians were smart as shit. They built an empire on top of dust fields. Dust fields are the number 1 resource, and no Grimm can attack them. It legit made them look like the most brilliant sons of bitches on Remnant. And they retconned that. The Volume 7 short that isn't officially released, and it looks like shit because it's not even fully animated, it's like half-assed junk, retcons the world of Remnant. It retcons Atlas in general because apparently there's prehistoric Grimm on Atlas. There's saber-tooth type Grimm. They're saying there might be dinosaur type Grimm, and this type of shit is where Miles Luna as the writer, whatever the designers, the communication or the teamwork in Kirby, it's not there up here. It's not there. They don't have what it fucking takes. If you're gonna have prehistoric Grimm be the only thing that can survive the Elysian cold, because the normal Grimm don't fucking cut it, and then you see Salem modifying the gorilla monkey fucking Grimm, and she's not making them, resilient to the cold. All she's doing is giving them fucking wings. Oh wow, they can fly! Fly, my pretties! But that doesn't mean they can survive in the fucking cold. It also doesn't mean that monkeys are prehistoric-based Grimm. They're fucking mammals from the next stage. It also means that sometime in Remnant, they went through a prehistoric fucking dinosaur age. That's never fucking shown. I mean, the fans were guessing that they went through an evolution period because the gods created humans, but then when they deleted them, somehow humans came back through some form of fucking evolution. So evolution and gods side by side in this show already is fucked in the head. But then we've gone through a dinosaur age, and somehow the dinosaurs have been wiped out, but the Grimm adapted to the fucking dinosaurs. It's like they don't, and it makes Salem look stupid. It's honestly made Salem look stupid, and just how she operates. You can't take the main boss seriously if she's a lazy bitch. And that applies to he, she. It's like, imagine if Naruto happened and Madara didn't do any of his badass shit. He just sat on the sidelines, waited for Obito to took out Obito's eyes at the last second and go, I am big baddie. It would have not have meant shit. Baddie's gotta display badassery. And Salem doesn't have that. Salem is this lazy piece of shit character that is honestly just getting on my nerves. I know. You know what? Switch Tyrion and Salem around. Because now that we got Salem's backstory, there's nothing to her that I honestly care about. We already know how to cure Salem as well. The problem with Salem, as I pointed out before, is she's told by the gods if she accepts the cycle of life and death, she can move on and be with Ozma in the fucking afterlife. She chose not to accept it and be a stubborn bitch that just sat there and bloody for the sake of plot. For the sake of plot. We already know how to cure her. So God knows where this fucking story goes. So Tyrion, yeah, put him above. I'm not gonna do Jacques because I don't believe he's a villain. I believe he's an antagonist, but not a villain. He's not bad. It's just so many people in the fandom are just he's our wife. That's called discipline, and when you're a bad bitch, you step out of line, shut the fuck up and be grateful. Weiss is an asshole as well. She's happy to take her father's money, to, brag about her fucking name and do everything. She won't answer a fucking phone. Like, Dead said, you know how disrespectful it is not to answer a phone when your parents call you? I don't give a shit. How about, answer the fucking phone, you bitch. Trying to think, because I already know who's at the top and I'm going through the villains. I'm not going to do Mercury and Emerald. Cinder. Cinder's in a very unique situation. She's both shit, medium, and good. Oh, well, not good. / good, right, potential. That's how it goes. She's shit because after 7 now, 7 years, the only thing we know about Cinder is she's power hungry. Shit. This shows complete laziness, and I'm not even curious anymore with Cinder. That's the weird thing. When it comes to 7 years and you still don't know shit about the main villain in the series, who's been in the series the longest, it's annoying. It's fucking annoying. When they finally get around to telling us, it's going to be a fucking letdown because it's going to be some boring generic shit that no one fucking cares about. And you're just like, why didn't you just tell us that in the first place? However, the reason I give her medium as well is she has been in it the longest. Volumes 1 to 3 was all this bitch's manipulation. And she stuck around. Surprisingly, her best volume, fucking 4, when she shut her bloody mouth and didn't say anything, and we actually got to read emotion from her fucking face. And then 5, where they... God damn. I don't want to mention 5. Cinder has the potential, if they do her backstory properly, her motivation properly, and she actually does something. But I'm not getting my hopes up because she's teamed up with fucking Neo, and they're supposed to be after Ruby, and they're in a fucking Haven ship going to Atlas, and even though it's disguised, it doesn't have the codes or anything. This is Ruby in a nutshell, people. When you understand that in Volume 6, the Atlas people in Argus identified that Maria wasn't a pilot just based on her voice. They asked for communication codes and stuff. This is all how the military works. And then as Team Ruby is getting onto Atlas, there's no communications between Argus and Atlas. Communication that distance is down. Atlas craft incoming during a military blockade where the leader of the military states nothing in, nothing out. If they and they're preparing for a fucking war with all their military on defense, and they see a single friggin' ship coming back, you think they would have asked the pilot to identify themselves and to give codes for clearance to enter the friggin' country and state their reasoning, and then instead all we get is welcome back, Manta. And I'm just like, I want to bitch slap this fucking show half the time. I feel like a group of us who actually use our brain with how you create world building need to sit down with Kruby, and every time they go, oh, we didn't think of that, oh, we could have done it better. It's like, they need a good slap every single fucking time they fuck up. Or just fire them. Do one or the other. Who's at the top of the list? Who's missing? Who's missing? Our boy with the potential, the threat, the personality, and the brains. What? What is your boy? He's gonna be in Atlas. He's the disgruntled Atlesian scientist. I want to know why he's disgruntled. I want his backstory. I want to know why he's kicked out. I hope it has something to do with the experiments involving bonding Grim to objects to militarize the Grim. That's what Weiss's Knight is. Weiss's Knight is an armor suit with Geist Grim bound to it that she defeated in the manga. You see it properly explained. It could have something to do with the aura transfer technology. Maybe he tried to aura transfer to a Grim. He's doing the taboo shit. I want to fucking know. This is also the badass responsible for all the hacking in Volume 3, for giving Cinder the friggin' penny files. This motherfucker is a beast of a potential villain, and he's sitting at the top because he's the most competent villain. That's what I'm looking forward to. Hazel, shit. Salem, shit. Tyrion, average. Neo, shit. Cinder, they could go either way. She's all over the fucking board. What's sitting at the fucking top? That's all the villains going forward into Volume 7. And I'm curious if you agree with me based on that ranking system. And honestly, if you have a reply that's similar to Neo's waifu, Neo's so great, Neo's this, Neo's that, please don't reply at all. I can't put up with that shit. It's okay to have waifus. I want to establish that as someone who's a fucking nerd and that. I get the whole fucking waifu thing. I do. But there's a difference between your fantasy and a good character. That's what you got to realize. A waifu can be a poorly written character, but hot. That's the fucking truth. And that's what I'm gonna do. And the only reason I actually made this was because I was in a good mood. It's what you do when you finish a pizza by yourself. You feel in a good mood. Let me know what you think.